No. This is a warning to all believers everywhere, and it's a very similar warning that Yeshua gave 2,000 years ago. This year, in November 2026, it's the first International Congress of Noahide. They are going to meet in Jerusalem. What is this? Well, it's 6 continents coming together for a 5-day event to establish a global Noahide framework and spiritual declaration. Now, some of you have no idea what this means, but it should terrify you. This is a warning that we are most definitely in the end days. Now, let's go through a few things. First of all, what are the Noahide laws? The Noahide laws are, according to rabbinical Judaism, the 7 laws that Gentiles have to obey to be, quote, good people and saved. It's not biblical. This is just their extra rules. Remember, Judaism has over 2,000 extra rules codified in the Talmud. So this is not biblical. You won't find this teaching in the Bible, except for when Messiah rebukes it. And we'll talk about that in the book of Matthew soon here. However, the 7 Noahide laws are as follows. Let's take a look. Okay, so these are according to the Babylonian Talmud. Now remember, the Talmud is not the Torah. The Torah is Genesis to Deuteronomy. The Talmud are the extra books that were the oral traditions passed down that were then written in the Talmudic books. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Now these 7 laws are for the non-Jews. Us Jews have to obey the Torah, apparently, to this tradition, and then you Jews don't. This is not true. That's not true, but that's what they teach. And here's what they say. Idolatry. Do not worship false gods or idols. Blasphemy, do not curse God, murder, sexual immorality, theft, eating flesh from a living animal, courts of justice. Now, this doesn't even make sense because Noah was told to take 2 of every unclean animal and 7 of the clean animals because he was going to eat the clean animals. Notice, not even in the Noahide laws, Noah is how you pronounce Noah, by the way, in Hebrew. So the Noahide laws are saying, well, these are the 7 laws that Noah had to obey, Noah had to obey. Oh my gosh, they even forgot the one that Noah was told to do. Big warning there. Anyway, let's look at one that's very, very important and pertinent to a Christian's life. Idolatry. You know what? Judaism classifies idolatry as worshiping Jesus. Do you know what the penalty for that is? Maimonides teaches, I think it's Maimonides, one of the Talmudic teachers. He taught beheading for following Jesus. So listen, again, 6 continents are coming together to establish a principle framework for a moral framework for the entire world based on these 7 laws of the Noahide laws. And they're saying this is a good thing for all the world to follow this. But in this law right here, in the very framework of the Babylonian Talmudic teachings, they say that if you worship Jesus Yeshua, it's idolatry. And you should be beheaded. Are you listening? Are we in the end days? Yes. Yes. Let's keep going here. Pardon me that I didn't get this image shrunk down, but I want to show you this. It's literally saying a person who worships Jesus is seen as engaging in idolatry from this perspective of the Noahide laws. Did you get that? So the idolaters then are what's to be done? Yeah, it says right here, punishment for the non-Jews participating in the Noahide laws. If they do this idolatry act, then they should be decapitated. Do you remember the Bible saying, we will be given into the hand of the Antichrist and he will wear out the saints in the book of Daniel? Okay, so now this was from the Wikipedia article on Noahidism. Guys, this is serious business. But I want to point out something that Yeshua warned us about, in case you were thinking these Noahide laws were good. If what we already said doesn't scare you or make you think these are bad, let's look at Matthew, Yeshua's own word. Now, in the previous chapter, in Matthew 14, we had the feeding of the 5,000, where they had 2 fish and 5 loaves, and they brought back 12 baskets filled of bread, remnants. 2 being the 2 houses of Israel, Judah, and the scattered house of Ephraim, who also, the Gentiles were a lot of Ephraimites. The Gentile believers were the scattered Ephraimites. So 2 houses. When you teach the story of the 2 houses of Israel, and when you teach both houses of Israel, Judah and Ephraim, the 5 loaves of 5 books of Torah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, when you give them the fullness of the bread of God, because Yeshua is the living Torah, the Word of God, You bring 12 baskets in. You get all the fullness of Israel. Isn't that beautiful? Now let's look at the feeding of the 4,000. So Yeshua goes and what happens? And so he has 7 loaves and a few fish. 7 loaves and a few fish, right? 7 and a few fish. 7 loaves. 7. Remember, there's 7 Noachide laws. Okay, just, I'm trying to connect the dots in case it's not connecting. He goes on and feeds them, and they bring back 7 baskets. No increase. A few fish. So a few different people groups. All of you just obey these 7 Noachide laws. What does it produce? No increase. Just when you do something good, that one good deed will return good measure to you. But there's no fullness of the increase or understanding. And let's look. Okay, so Yeshua then, in the next chapter, Matthew 16, he goes on to them and he says, no, because they're on the disciples had come to the other side. They had forgotten to take bread. Then Yeshua said to them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. He's not talking about yeast. He's talking about sin. Sin of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, is it because we have taken no bread? Did you just forget you just fed 4,000 people? But they're like, oh, maybe we don't have enough bread. Okay, that wasn't the issue here. But Yeshua, being aware of it, said to them, oh, you have little faith. Why do you reason among yourselves because you have brought no bread? Do you not yet understand or remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? 5 books of Moses, Torah, bringing in the fullness of the children of Israel, all of them Jew and Gentile. Nor the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many large baskets you took up. How is it you do not understand that I did not speak to you concerning bread, but to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and Sadducees. I'm going to tell you that doctrine is the Noachide laws. Noachide laws make Gentiles less and lower in the kingdom of heaven. They say that me or us Jews are more important than the Gentiles. Baloney. Noah was a Gentile. He wasn't a Jew, by the way. Jew has to come from the southern kingdom of Israel, ruled by the house of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The 10 northern tribes were Israel, Ephraim, and Caleb. Goodness gracious, Caleb was a Gentile. One of the 2 spies who got to go into the promised land. See, Caleb had the same rules. Exodus 12:49, Numbers 15, Leviticus 17, 19, 24, Isaiah 56. There's always been one rule set for any believer, Jew or Gentile or Israelite that was scattered. So these Noachide laws are extremely dangerous and exactly what Yeshua taught against. He said, be careful. This is leaven. This is sin. Do not rejoice when you see these Noachide laws. Be eyes wide open, ears open, listening around you, because I'm telling you, the tribulation is at the door. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you, this is the time. This is the time. The Noachide laws are not good. They're not good. This is a sign of the times. Be prepared to go through the tribulation. Buckle up, buttercup, because it's going to get biblical. I'm praying for you. May we cover each other. May we stand strong against the Antichrist system. It says we will be given into his hand. It says we will be worn out. The saints will be worn out. It says that Satan will turn to make war with those who have the testimony of Jesus and keep the commandments of God. Yeah, it's going to get biblical. Through it all, may he purify us and hold us. But please, listen up, and pay attention to this. Do not rejoice with these Noachide laws. There's something big going on.